The woman who walks away doesn't lose. She wins. Silently, let that sink in. In a world where so many are begging for attention, clinging to half-hearted love, and settling for crumbs just to feel seen, there's a rare kind of woman who does the unthinkable. She walks away, and that changes everything. Not to punish, not to manipulate, but because she knows her value isn't up for negotiation. And here's the twist. The moment she steps back, the entire dynamic shifts. Not because she played a game, but because she stopped playing altogether. When a woman walks away, she's not just leaving, she's reclaiming her power. She's setting a boundary without saying a word. She's becoming the prize, not the pursuer. And that terrifies people who once thought they had control. This video isn't about being cold or heartless. It's about awakening the version of you that knows when enough is enough. You're not here to chase someone into loving you. You're not here to earn crumbs from someone who can't see your worth. You're here to remember who the hell you are. If you've ever felt like you were giving more than you were getting, if you've ever stayed when you should have walked away, then this video will change how you move forever. Because the truth is simple. The woman who can walk away never has to. Let's talk about why. Detachment isn't about being cold or pretending you don't care. It's about being in control of your emotional investment. See, when someone knows you need them to feel okay, to feel worthy, or to feel whole, they hold the power. But when you no longer need their approval, affection, or validation, something powerful happens. The balance shifts. The psychology behind detachment starts with one truth. Human beings are drawn to what they can't fully predict or possess. It's not about playing games, it's about protecting your peace. When you're emotionally detached, you're not overanalyzing texts, waiting for them to choose you, or building a life around someone who wouldn't do the same for you. You're grounded. You choose. People confuse detachment with disinterest. But that's a lie. Real detachment is presence without pressure. It means you can enjoy someone's company without obsessing over where it's going. You can show up as your full self without fear that you'll be abandoned for it. The reason this works is because detachment removes urgency, and urgency kills attraction. The more someone feels your calm confidence, the more they're intrigued. Why? Because you're not reacting, you're responding. You're not proving your worth, you're already living it. Think about it. The moment you stop trying to control someone's perception of you, you become magnetic. Why? Because self-trust is rare, and rare is valuable. Most people chase connection from a place of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of being unloved, fear of not being enough. Detachment says, even if I lose this, I won't lose myself. That's power, that's peace, and that's irresistible. Detachment isn't distance, it's dignity. It's looking at a situation and saying, I can want this, but I don't need it to validate me. And that energy commands respect. The woman who masters detachment doesn't beg, she doesn't force, she doesn't perform, she just is. And that's why everything comes to her. Detachment doesn't mean you won't feel, it just means your feelings don't run you. And when you reach that level, people sense it, and suddenly you're no longer chasing love. Love is chasing you. You don't always realize you're giving away your power. It rarely happens in one big moment. Most of the time it's subtle. It's in the compromises you make with a lump in your throat. It's in the texts you send, even when your gut tells you not to. It's in the way you explain yourself over and over, just hoping to be understood. One of the first real signs is over-explaining. When you feel the need to justify every boundary, every emotion, or every decision, you're subconsciously asking for permission to be yourself. And that's a sign you've handed someone else the authority over your worth. You don't owe anyone a novel to validate how you feel. Your no can be a full sentence. Your intuition doesn't need to be debated. Another major sign, you tolerate inconsistency. You forgive ghosting, mixed signals, emotional neglect. Not because it's okay, but because you're afraid if you don't, they'll leave. But here's the thing, when you accept the bare minimum, you train people to give you just that. Every time you stay silent about something that hurt you, just to keep the peace, you trade your peace for their comfort. You also find yourself waiting for them to change, waiting for them to text, waiting for them to finally see your value. And while you wait, life is passing you by. Love isn't something you have to earn with patience or pain. If someone makes you feel like love is a reward you unlock by suffering enough, that's not love. That's emotional manipulation. Then there's the classic sign. You start molding yourself to be easier to love. You shrink your personality. You mute your voice. You laugh at things that don't feel funny. agree with things that don't feel true. You become less of yourself, hoping they'll finally want you more. But anyone who only values you when you're diluted never valued the real you to begin with. You also notice your emotions are always walking on eggshells. You're anxious when they're distant, relieved when they respond. You go from high to low depending on how they act, because they've become the center of your emotional stability. That's not partnership. That's power imbalance. You might even start doubting yourself. Your standards feel too much. Your needs feel like a burden. You're convinced asking for emotional availability will scare them off. And maybe it will. But anyone who runs from healthy connection isn't someone who was ready to love you in the first place. Giving away your power looks like people-pleasing, overthinking, second-guessing and settling. But the moment you notice it, you can take it back. You can stop shrinking, stop chasing, and start choosing. Because you were never meant to beg for love, attention, or respect. You were meant to embody it. And the moment you start doing that, everything shifts. There's something undeniably magnetic about a woman who can walk away. Not out of anger, not to get a reaction, but because she knows who she is, and she's not afraid to lose anyone who doesn't. That kind of energy shifts the entire room. It speaks before she does. It's not loud, it's not aggressive, but it's powerful, and everyone feels it. A woman who can walk away is centered. She isn't looking for external validation, because she's already claimed it from within. She doesn't beg for time, attention, or effort. She watches, she observes, and when she sees that someone is offering less than she deserves, she doesn't argue. She exits. Quietly, clearly, completely. And that silence, that calm confidence, that's what draws people in. People are used to reactions, drama, pleading, clinging. But when you don't do any of that, when you stay grounded in your self-worth, you become a mystery they want to solve, a presence they want to chase. You are not desperate for a seat at anyone's table. You are the table. The truth is, when you don't need someone, you have the freedom to choose them. That's where the power lies. Detachment creates desire. Because when you have options, when you have boundaries, when you have peace, people feel it, and they either rise to meet you, or they fall away. And you're okay with either outcome. There's no begging, no convincing, no waiting around, hoping someone finally sees your value. You already know your value. You've done the work. You've felt the heartbreak. You've picked yourself up. So now, if someone wants access to you, they have to come correct. And that's magnetic, because most people are so used to being chased, they don't know how to handle someone who simply doesn't need them to stay. This woman doesn't use her independence as a shield. She uses it as a filter. She's not cold. She's clear. Her energy says, I want love, but I will not settle. I am open, but I am not empty. I am kind, but I am not naive. And that balance is what captivates people. It's rare. It's refreshing. It's unforgettable. She's not trying to win someone over. She's not overgiving to feel worthy. She's just being, living, growing, evolving. And when you interact with her, you feel that her energy doesn't pull, it radiates. And that's the difference. She's not looking for someone to complete her. She's already. So if you've ever wondered why the woman who walks away seems to hold all the power, it's not because she plays hard to get. It's because she is hard to forget. She knows that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply not settle. And in that choice, she becomes unforgettable. When you pull back, something shifts. You stop calling. You stop initiating. You stop pouring into someone who's been giving you half energy. And suddenly you see a different side of him. Because whether he says it or not, your absence speaks louder than anything you ever said while trying to be heard. The first thing that happens when you pull back is confusion. He notices the change. Maybe not immediately, but he feels it. The tone of your texts is different. The urgency is gone. Your responses are slower, shorter, or maybe silent altogether. And whether he admits it or not, he starts asking himself, did I lose her? Now, depending on the kind of man he is, his reaction will tell you everything. If he was using your energy as an emotional crutch to feel wanted, admired, or in control, he might panic. Not because he loves you, but because he misses the access. He misses the validation. He misses how you made him feel important without him having to fully show up. You were feeding his ego, and now he's starving. That's not love. That's attachment to control. Some men react with ego. They try to act unbothered. They pretend they didn't notice. They post more, flex more, try to get your attention without directly addressing you. But that's just pride. That's an immature attempt to get you to chase again, because they don't know how to meet you on your level. And then there are the ones who step up. When a man genuinely values you, your pullback doesn't offend him. It wakes him up. He starts reflecting. He realizes he was taking your consistency for granted. And instead of playing games, he reaches out with clarity. He asks what changed. He brings accountability to the conversation. He doesn't just want you back. He wants to show up better. But here's the hard truth. When you pull back, some men just disappear. They don't chase. They don't check in. They let you go. And that hurts. But that's also your answer. Because any man who lets you walk away in silence was never truly invested. He was just comfortable. Pulling back isn't about punishing someone. It's about protecting your peace. It's a reset. It's saying, I've done enough. If this matters to you, you'll show me. If not, I'll be okay without it. And that's powerful, because most women are afraid to lose someone. But when you stop fearing the loss and start choosing yourself, you gain something more important: clarity. So if you want to know where you really stand with a man, don't argue, don't beg, don't explain yourself one more time. Just pull back and watch what he does with your silence. Neediness doesn't start with the other person. It starts with a belief. The belief that you're not enough on your own. That if you don't get a certain reaction, a certain level of attention, or a certain kind of love, something is wrong with you. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. Neediness isn't about wanting love. It's about fearing you won't survive without it. That fear creates pressure. You overthink every message. You feel anxious when they don't respond quickly. You check their stories, try to read into their silence, and build scenarios in your head. That pressure doesn't push people closer. It pushes them away, because energy doesn't lie. When you're operating from lack, it shows, even in your silence. So how do you avoid neediness? It starts by redirecting your focus. Instead of obsessing over what they're doing, start paying attention to what you're not doing for yourself. When was the last time you poured into your own life? When did you last do something that made you feel alive, attractive, grounded, with or without them? Neediness fades when self-trust grows. When you know deep down that even if they leave, you will not fall apart. When you stop assigning someone else the job of making you feel wanted, chosen, or safe, that job belongs to you. When you take it back, you don't come off as cold. You come off as calm, collected, whole. You reclaim your power the moment you realize that your presence is a privilege, not a plea. That's when your energy changes. You don't chase. You don't perform. You don't lose yourself in someone else's inconsistency. Instead, you stay rooted in who you are. You stop romanticizing potential. You stop negotiating with red flags. You stop trying to earn what should be given freely. People can feel when your happiness depends on their behavior. It creates emotional debt. They feel responsible for your mood, your worth, your security. But when you shift that responsibility back to you, everything gets lighter. Conversations feel better. Boundaries feel easier. Attraction grows. Power comes from knowing that love should never cost you your self-respect. That wanting connection is healthy, but needing it to feel whole is dangerous. The moment you can say, I love deeply, but I will never abandon myself for love, is the moment you reclaim everything. And don't be fooled. Detachment doesn't make you heartless. It makes you powerful. It means you can enjoy someone without losing yourself. It means you can care deeply, passionately, but still walk away if it becomes toxic. That's not weakness, that's strength. So if you're tired of feeling like you're always the one trying harder, it's time not to become colder, but to become clearer. You don't need to be chosen. You just need to remember that you already are. By you. Walking away is often misunderstood. People think it's about power moves, manipulation, or trying to get a reaction. But the truth is, real walking away has nothing to do with games and everything to do with growth. When you walk away for the right reasons, it's not to make them chase. It's to make sure you don't keep chasing what isn't aligned with you anymore. Game playing is rooted in ego. Silence with the hope they'll reach out. Disappearing just to be missed. Posting for attention. Those are tactics, and they may get a response, but they won't give you real clarity. Because when someone comes back based on a game, they're responding to confusion, not your truth. Authentic walking away is different. It's calm, it's quiet, It doesn't beg, it doesn't explain itself endlessly, and it doesn't hope for a reaction. It simply chooses peace over patterns. When you walk away without malice, just because you finally accepted that someone is unwilling or unable to meet you where you are, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. And it takes courage, because deep down, there's always a part of you that hopes, maybe they'll change. Maybe if I wait longer, love harder, sacrifice more. But eventually you reach a point where your soul whispers, you've done enough. And in that moment, walking away becomes an act of self-respect, not rejection. Here's the difference between walking away and playing games. Games come from insecurity. Walking away comes from self-trust. You're not leaving to be dramatic. You're leaving because staying would mean betraying your own boundaries. You're not silent to punish. You're quiet because you're done explaining what shouldn't have to be explained anymore. You're not hoping they notice. You've simply noticed that you deserve better. And when you walk away like that, without slamming doors, without anger, without trying to be chaste, that energy is powerful. People feel it because it's real. It's not meant to create tension. It's meant to create space for alignment. You don't have to go. You don't have to block and unblock. You don't have to post cryptic stories. You can leave with love. You can exit with grace. You can say this no longer serves me and walk away, not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring about yourself more. This kind of walking away doesn't burn bridges. It builds boundaries. It protects your future self. It honors the version of you who's been begging for clarity, peace, and reciprocity. So no, you don't have to play games to take your power back. You just have to decide that the bare minimum is no longer enough. And when you do, you won't need revenge. You won't need closure. You'll just need the strength to keep walking. And that is the ultimate win. Staying unbothered isn't about pretending nothing affects you. It's not about building walls or becoming emotionally numb. It's about choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. The unbothered woman doesn't ignore her emotions. She honors them. But she no longer lets them run her life. She feels everything, but she chooses what to respond to. That's power. And that's where your irresistibility is born. In that calm confidence, in that grounded energy that says, I'm not here to compete, convince, or chase. I know who I am. The world teaches women to do the most to be loved, to overgive, overexplain, overperform. But the truth is, the most magnetic energy you can carry is the energy of a woman who is deeply at peace with herself. She's not loud about it. She doesn't need to prove anything, but people feel it. She's not reactive. She's responsive. She's not triggered by every shift in someone else's behavior because her worth isn't tied to it. She's not sitting by the phone waiting for a text. She's out building the life she's proud of. She's showing up for herself day by day, and that alone makes her shine. Staying unbothered doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself enough not to chase what costs you your peace. It means your boundaries are non-negotiable. Your time is sacred. Your energy is earned. You no longer tolerate inconsistency because you're not afraid of being alone. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop trying so hard to be chosen, you realize you already are. By you. By your future. By everything aligned with the woman you're becoming. That version of you. She's not stressed about who's staying or leaving. She's too focused on who she's becoming. Irresistibility isn't about looks, status, or having all the answers. It's about how deeply you trust yourself. It's in your ability to stay soft in a hard world without letting it break you. It's in the way you let go, not with bitterness, but with grace. It's the energy that says, I'm not chasing, I'm attracting, I'm not waiting, I'm choosing. That's what makes people take note, not because you're begging for attention, but because you're no longer giving it away so easily. You become a presence, not a performance. You become the woman who knows her value, who speaks with clarity, who walks with purpose. And that energy is unforgettable. So if you've ever felt like you had to do more, be more, prove more to be loved, let this be your reminder. You are enough, exactly as you are. Stay calm, stay soft, stay focused, stay unbothered, and watch how irresistible you become. Now that you've heard all of this, it's time to take a moment and ask yourself, where am I giving away my power? Who or what am I waiting on to finally feel worthy, whole, or secure? Because the truth is, the power to change your life isn't in anyone else's hands, it's in yours. Stepping into your power isn't a one-time decision, it's a daily practice. It means showing up for yourself even on the days when it feels hard. It means setting boundaries that protect your peace, saying no without guilt, and choosing environments that uplift you instead of drain you. It means learning to love your own company and trusting that being alone doesn't equal being lonely. It means walking away from what no longer serves you, not because you're giving up, but because you're giving yourself the chance to grow. You might feel scared. That's natural. Fear shows up whenever you step out of old patterns. But remember, growth never happens in comfort zones. When you walk away, when you pull back, when you refuse to settle for less, you're rewriting your story. You're telling the universe, I'm ready for more. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being honest. Honest with yourself about what you deserve, about what drains your energy, about who lifts you higher. It's about choosing you every single day, even when no one else seems to. So here's the challenge. Start today. Look at your relationships, your mindset, your habits. Where are you shrinking? Where are you bending too much? Where are you waiting instead of choosing? And then take one small step to reclaim your power. Maybe it's sending that message that sets a boundary. Maybe it's saying no to something that feels off. Maybe it's spending time doing what makes you feel alive. Whatever it is, remember, you don't have to wait for permission to be your best self. The woman who walks away isn't running from love. She's running toward her truth. And so can you. Step into your power today, because the world needs the energy only you can bring.